Hi, this is Living in Boulder vlog episode for December 10th, 2019, Tuesday, 1:13. Nope, not 1:13. Gotta move the mouse out of the way. 4:13 p.m. So, I can't remember when the last time I did my video was. It was like, I think in the afternoon or something of this time. And I was still working on the Baths of Caracalla, and it was taking forever. Ooh, I looked on my um YouTube, and it said like 9 days. I think today was my 10th day on the Baths of Caracalla, so yikes. So yesterday, let's see, I worked until something, and then I got up today. I think I'm pretty much diurnalized. I work until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I get up at like 10 in the morning or something like that. So today I was working on, and I finished the Baths of Caracalla. Just finished them, and and I just started working on the Baths of Trajan, and I'm super excited. I was getting burnt out on the Baths of Caracalla. There's kind of one more step that I could have done. I guess double checking the levels and the actual main building, but they're good enough for me. I don't need to. Maybe I could do it later, or somebody else get in there, fancy pants to do it. And like people are totally more than welcome to copy my website, my Google Earth, and improve on it. I don't have to do everything all the time. But I mean, I would if I have to. It's not that big of a deal. So today, how I finished it up, I was just I was looking around at the etc. Those half moons, those half circles, and it says the building was labeled on the image of the map that I traced it off of. It said like room 29, like etc. Or, building for philosophers and stuff, and so there's like an extension to the library, and so I saw the half moon thing, and I saw the thing in the library too, the half deal, and then I saw the square in the middle, and I said, "Oh wait, that's the library. That square thing, that's not a statue. That's a podium for a speaker." And then the half moon is the seating for the uh, students in the classroom. And so I put the podium there, made it 3 feet high. I made it 3 feet high, a meter high. Put the stadium stand around it, around the edge. Made it standard size, 0.65 of a meter depth, which is what I took from my template from the actual surviving stairs on the Coliseum. 7 steps for the first level, 0.65. So, and I took it around. I can't remember exactly how far around it was, but it worked out to, for 19 inches, which is for the width of a stereo, is from like the original amphitheater, before they made them wider, like in the. So I was 19 inches. So, anyways, that was 35 people, or 32 people, and I was like, what? Classroom 32 so it's like if you're going to be like, hey, what's a classroom size of ancient Roman uh, library in the Baths of Caracalla? Well, the answer's 32. And so that's interesting because 30, isn't that the size of your standard classroom in today's world? The only difference is they had a half moon style, which I think is better anyway. Everybody gets to face each other. And so that's what they had all over. And so I put that on both of them, and that was awesome. I put them the stand a meter high, colored white, 0.65 depth, so it looks just like the stands of the other ones. It's just a smaller version of it. I love macrocosm, fractal. That's what in symmetry. That's what Rome's all about. So you have the giant. You have the Coliseum, which is 50,000 people, and then you have other Coliseum, the little mini Coliseum, the what's it called, the Stadium of Agonalis, which is exactly 10 times smaller. It's like 4,800, the size of a legion. So hey, and it's the same shape. And then I saw this little outline. It was probably the bath or something, but it was on the Palatine Hill. And in the Romulan Rome, I turned that into another stadium. So it's another stadium, like, and I don't think I calculated the population, but maybe I did like 50. So it's another like 10 times smaller. So yeah, man. So, and then I looked at I saw this other hall. It was the octagonal hall, and on the eastern, southeastern side of it, it still exists in the Bath of Caracalla, and it has these little half circles along the edges. And I put these stands on that, and it worked out to 12 and a half people, which is 25 people for two, which is 50 people for the whole thing. I love these round numbers. And so 12 and a half, that's like a troop of like a platoon of soldiers. So if you want to make it like a more personalized, if you're going to be, okay, well, if the ancient Roman classroom size is 32 people, how big is small classroom size? Because that's the big classroom size. 12 and a half is the answer. And they're all small enough where they all can hear each other, and they're not separated by walls, so it's totally different layout of space. But I love it more with the Romans. I like sometimes maybe you get it right the first time. We should go back to the Roman way of organizing things. Or at least build at one time. Like where in the world, like what university in the world do you have it set up like Rome, where you have all the classrooms are these half circles where they're not separated by walls. You can just walk from classroom to classroom and look over here. Seems like the acoustics would work because the professor speaks out this way and he's speaking. So because the speaking is tethered away from you, the sound wouldn't interfere. Kind of like when you have festivals where you have a person doing a rock song, you walk a little bit longer, and then it's the rock song, and the sound doesn't interfere. I think they probably have it spaced out acoustically perfectly too. So, and then in the main building of the building next to it's called the Philedri, the philosophy buildings. It's even bigger than the library, so it must be like other library extension, but. And I made it really lots of levels high, but it had a big Excedra end on it. Actually, had one definite one because you could see the square. And so I put that, and I think I may have even put it double level. And that worked out to even more people, like 50 or something. I can't remember. But then there's this other big one, and I did it, and I made it go all the way up through all the levels. So, and I made it multiple levels with the first one. So I totally built it up, and I don't know if I think I forgot to check the population, the capacity of those, but they look good. And yeah, I'll check the population of them later. Oh man, I X'd out of it. I guess that would be another thing that I should do, but it doesn't matter because I thought to myself, oh yeah, because in order to finish it, I thought to myself, oh wow, I'm a total Excedra fanatic now. Like, like I smoke weed all the time, and I'm like, I'm like autistic. I'm thinking autistically. I got like diagnosed in it too, so that makes it good. I'm really good at focusing, and so I'm focused on Rome. I'm like, okay, I'm in Rome world, and so one thing that I know about Rome is is the is all of the theaters, all of the small theaters, big theaters. It's all about performing, and so that's what these little just tiny little theaters, and it's also the racetracks everywhere. All of the baths had racetracks also, and the swimming in the baths, and so they had all of it. So, and so, oh yeah. So I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna definitely go, and I think I would just want to load up all the Excedra all over the place like at once, because on the ones that I've already done, because I think I already built Region 9, which is the baths of Nero and Agrippa, and there's lots of little Excedra, and I never typed in my own ones there. So, and I came to the decision also, I want to make a half Flower of Life, and then plunk that on all of my Excedras, because that's what I did in the one in the Caracalla main building, and I made it a half one just by layering the square, on top of it. But it looks good. I think it's a good representation of the circle, Flower of Life. So I'm just going to plunk all of those down also on all the Excedra, just to give them all a standardized look, and to go along with the standardized look of the the same size and color of the stands. And so when I looked at the Baths of Trajan, I actually saw on their Excedra, the person who made the map even drew in the stands. And oh, I forgot to look actually. I forgot to measure him and see if it's 0.65, because I think that's the first actually opportunity where I get to compare the accuracy between, to see if it's the same between the stand that I independently could took the size from the existing Coliseum stand and the one drawn in. Because on the Baths of Trajan, out of all of the entire map of the entire city on that detailed map, the Baths of Trajan is the only building where he actually draws in the stands. Because, or you could call them stairs. So I'm going to call them stands because it's an etc. So yeah, that's what he means. He drew them in stands, the stairs. So, or maybe not even stairs. Yeah, it's the only place to put drew them in stands. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm gonna actually gonna go and measure it right now. I hope it equals out. I love it when stuff lines up perfectly. And I one thing I've said before is I found that when you're constantly, especially when Rome, constantly looking for these numbers to magically line up and everything, it works out every time. So yeah, so I saw the other etc. too. He draw in the different steps of it, and it's going to work in great too because the way that I have this set up is elevated. The whole thing's elevated except for actually a couple of round, I think calidarium floors or pools. I don't know, but I can put those as ground, just the way that the ground undulates. But it was too wavy, I guess, the way that I distinguished before when I built it to make it all like covered by a images, because you can't hover images above. So I have Baths of Caracalla because it's flat, hovered on images, so it looks great. But I can't do that with and also I think Baths of Nero and Agrippa, but I can't do that with the Baths of Trajan because it's on top of this Kylian hill. So I just put a platform that was only 2 meters high and it covered everything except for the very end of it, which only pokes up just a little bit, and then you can compensate for the color for that with just an unelevated color that you adjust it. But that works out great for me because when you have stuff elevated, these polygon tool elevated, it makes it very sharp. It looks great from a distance, but it looks just as good from up close because as you go up closer, it keeps its crispness. So you can draw in, and be walking around ground level and see everything just as detailed as you're looking across the room, you know. So, and it's the same design. It's the same thing. That's crispy from the top out and then all the way in the detail. So I can go in there on the etc. and those steps and draw in those steps and even adjust them going down, and make it look like, and have the platform down to look like you're actually making a little mini, like Coliseum, one of these, theaters. So, and yeah. So and it looks like it might be quite easy at least compared to Caracalla because it's all pre-drawn. Like out of the three main baths that I have to do, that are the standard bath design, like Diocletian, Caracalla. It's Diocletian, Caracalla, and Trajan. And Trajan only exists just in one little thing, so it kind of doesn't exist anymore. And Caracalla either, just in one thing too. But yeah, you can. But out of those three, Trajan is the only one that's in the main map, so it makes it really easy. All I have to do is trace, and also I love the way it looks. So I'm gonna go in there, yeah, and I'm excited to go in there because I was getting burnt out. I was working like 10 days or something on Caracalla. So go in here and just power out Trajan. And then once I figure out Trajan and get all the baths in there, then I'll know definitively where I want the baths in Diocletian. That's why I bounced from Diocletian. And then I can finish it. I think I'm not even that far away from finishing Diocletian. So then, goddamn, when I'm done with those three, well, then there's some other big ones. There's the Olympia, which I want to do. I'm going to do all the baths at the same time. Olympia, and then there's Commodus, which I guess I can have leeway. I'll just do it a duplicate of Decius, which is on the map on there, or I guess my own map that I put on there. So yeah, anyways, but these are the ones that are time consuming. I've been talking for a long time, but that etc. thing was exciting. That because now I can calculate the exact capacity of the entire city of theaters. Okay. I can divide them up in the different sizes, like the 12 person, 25 person, 32 person, 50 person, up to the 150,000 person, of 50,000 for Coliseum, 150,000 for Stadium. So Maximus. So, and then calculate it all. And you know what you can then compare it to YouTube, because what I want to do is I want to turn Rome into YouTube. You turn YouTube into Rome. People need to meet your YouTube people in person, but you want to meet your YouTube people in person at the same place. The closest thing to that in the world right now is Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is isn't doesn't it has a great layout, but it's like one big city, and it's not as beautiful as it's just one big strip, and it's not as beautiful as Rome. Just turn Rome into like the new Las Vegas, only the new YouTube, where instead of going and watching performers perform all the time, music like has been musicians and stuff like that, you just watch YouTubers do their YouTuber stuff. And the cool thing about YouTube is that you have the big superstars and then the small people. Same thing with the layout of Rome. You could have like the superstar YouTubers doing their presentations on the Colosseum, but then you have all these tiny little etc. And the nook and crannies of the baths where you can have this whatever schmo YouTuber going there all the time. So it's I love the idea of turning our digital mind, or our the way that our mind creates things that's out in the ether, and bring it down to the world in an actual physical architecture. And the perfect place to do that is Rome. So you can just turn YouTubers and presenting and athletes and racers and yeah, like fighters, and what else was there? Everything all in the same place in Rome. So yeah, because Rome's looking really pretty. There's also these other two things that I'm really looking forward to building in Rome, and it's right next to the bows of Agrippa, and because I looked at them and I went, oh my god, those are towers. Because I built like a couple weeks ago, before I was working on the Caracalla, I saw these towers, and they're these medieval towers, but they're 60 meters high, and they're pretty to look at. And I was thinking to myself, well, they built those medieval towers off of the rubble of Rome. Maybe in the height of Rome, because Rome got really built up, more than it was in medieval times. Maybe in the height of Rome, they had some towers like that, and they built those towers off of the templates of the towers in Rome. And so I looked at these towers in Rome, and I went, oh my god, those look like just like the towers of the medieval towers. And so I said, oh my god, I want to make those towers 60 meters high. So those will be Rome's version of the skyscraper. And maybe I'll like label the building like, Nero's cable carriage company, like Ford, like try to make it as modern looking as possible. But 250 feet, 70 meters is dang high. That's pretty much a skyscraper, and it's right in the middle of downtown, so it's like the downtown, the skyscraper. So yeah, I'm looking forward to building that, and I want to layer them so that you can see the colors of the layers as you go up. And they even have the stairs painted in, so it's like and so if you see the stairs painted in the levels, you go, oh my god, you can just make that, stack it up. There's this other thing I want to talk about. There's some video that I want to make specific, but the columns of Marcus Aurelius and Trajan are very simply and beautifully designed, where they're just these blocks of solid marble that are carved out into these steps, and then they just stack like Legos, stacks the steps together, so that when you're inside, you just step on the next step and go up. Well, why don't we 3D print duplicates of the columns of Trajan and Marcus Aurelius? Because you could just get these big 3D printers, and we have this material that's really light and strong. You just print them up really good, and then you have these like cranes put them together, and boom, you have these columns of Trajan and Marcus Aurelius. They're beautiful. You could have your own story of your own town or whoever built that going up the column, and paint it, um, and have the little lookout thing that's 100 feet high in the little town. And it seems like it would be a great way to practice 3D printing buildings. Because it's such a simple and beautiful design. They should even have like column of Trajan toys for kids to play with. Because anyway, there's this video I saw on YouTube. You should check it out. How they built it is. Anyway, dang, I've been talking almost 20 minutes. So, yeah, today's my first day on the Baths of Trajan. If I can finish Baths of Trajan this week, like in 1 week, I guess I'll be super happy. I'm sure I can, because it's more straightforward than Baths of Caracalla. Not as big, not as complex. And then yeah, so maybe this week I can do Trajan and finish Diocletian all of them. I don't know, but yeah, but super exciting to start with Trajan. And I think I'll go and start listening to more of those hearings now. Okay, keep it under 20 minutes. Talk to you tomorrow.